Hi guys, I'm Jim, and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop today. And I've got a bunch of emails I'd like to answer, and they're all the same issue on some snappers. The last one to get a hold of me was Barry. Barry, let me know what state you're in. I'm kind of keeping track. And he said he was mowing he's got a 33 inch and a 28 inch, and they both quit within a week of each other. They didn't make any noise, they just stopped moving forward. He said it won't go forward, it won't go backwards. Well, I'm going to show you a simple way to troubleshoot it without tearing the entire machine apart needlessly. So let me tell you, I've got a model here. Now this is a working model. I took the engine off, and when I made this, I had a hard time finding this motor that would turn slow enough. This is a 900 RPM motor. If it was spinning as fast as most motors do, you wouldn't be able to see much because it'd just be a blur. But if you have any issues with your riders and you want to understand how this mechanism all works, send me an email and I'll fire this thing up and show you. Now for Barry's and the rest of these issues or questions, the first thing you want to do is take off one of your boots on just one end, preferably this side and not this side, because this is a lot harder to get to with the way this fender's flared out. And this fender's been cut away. A lot of this stuff has. So you want to clamp your clutch open somehow. What I did is I put a pair of vice grips on here on the yoke so I can activate the clutch without worrying about the pedal. Then back in here, I opened the clutch up. Back in here, you'll see a little piece of wood I stuck underneath the yoke to hold it open so I wouldn't have to mess with it. Now pull this boot back and spin your clutch disc. Now what that's going to do is it's going to turn this chain in here and this sprocket, and that sprocket up on the top is going to turn this shaft. Now when you got this boot pulled back and you're turning this and this shaft does not turn, that means you broke this chain. And this is pretty simple to fix. Preferably this one than this one over here, because this is going to be a lot more work. Now if you turn this and this shaft turns, then we go down to this end. Let me see if I can move this camera. Now there's a couple things in here that could have happened. Probably this chain broke. If this shaft is turning, you can see if I turn this clutch, you can see my tires would be turning if they're on there. So if this chain didn't break, then it's up in here in your gears. Now I've had an old machine that I had for 20 years, and I bought it from a guy that I think his mother and father had it for I don't know how long, and this gear was totally smooth. I can turn this a little bit. It didn't have any teeth left on it at all. And finally it got to the point where it was wore down so much that the gear it meshes into it down here that this turns couldn't grip it, and it just quit moving. So I had to put one of these gears on. Now they're a little more expensive than these chains. You can get these chains at a lot of hardwares. If you got like a True Value or an Ace, they'll sell chain by the foot. So you want to take this with you, buy enough chain, and you'll want to get a master link, and you'll want to get a half link, because you don't want these chains sloppy. See, this one's, this one's got quite a bit of slop in it. So what I would do with this one is I would try to put the half link in. If it made it too tight, then you have to go back to a regular master link that's twice as long. And the same with this chain here. This one's really bad. Now what'll happen if these get stretched out enough, you'll throw the chain off the sprocket. Now that may have happened, and you'll didn't have anything that broke. Now he said he noticed that he was low on, I use 80/90 gear lube in my differential and in my chain case. He noticed he was low on gear lube, and he said he didn't have any, so he squirted 4 or 5 shots of grease inside of the differential. And he said he's hoping he didn't hurt the differential by doing that. Putting grease in there is not going to help or hurt. With the gear lube in there, as this thing is setting down and all this is turning, it's going to pick the gear lube up and throw it around inside of there and lubricate everything, including this bushing over here. Now, if you just got this full of grease, within 4 or 5 years, that grease is going to harden up and it's going to be totally worthless. So don't do that. You want to keep gear lube in there. Now, if this chain's okay and this sprocket hasn't stripped out, then you probably lost one of your, I don't know if I can get you in there close enough to see that or not. Let me vibrate you forward here a little bit. Turn this just right. Now on the end of this axle and this axle, they're 2 pieces. They're not one axle. And on the end of each axle, there's a gear, which these little planetary gears mesh into, and that's what makes your differential work. You may have lost the teeth off the end of one of the axles. Now, if that happened, I would think you would have heard it, because when you snap a tooth, it's going to make some racket. If you wear the teeth off this gear, it's not going to make any noise. If you break a chain, typically it'll make no noise that you're going to hear over the engine running. So that's just a couple things to look for and an easy way to check for them without completely tearing your machine apart. If you have any other questions, comments, or if you want to see this thing run to understand a little better how it works, send me an email at jimsfixitshop@gmail.com. No comma on Jim. And I'll get back with you and I'll help you out any way I can. And don't worry about sending an email. I had one viewer say, oh man, you said we could send emails, but I hope it's okay. Some days I get 20 of them. So if I don't answer you right away, don't think I'm ignoring you, because some days it takes me a couple days just to answer all the emails I got in one day's time. And there's other days I don't get any at all. So don't worry about it. And if something happens and I don't answer you within 3 or 4 days, email me again, because I have been known to push the wrong button and erase things. So just keep shooting them over here and I'll answer them. I really will. Don't worry about it. And I guess that's it. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the description below this video. Or like I said, just email me. Either way, I should get notified that you've sent something to me. And I will answer you. So until next time, work safe, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.